You know, the 30,000 rupee price segment, it's become very competitive. And you know, it's become very tough to decide what's good for you, what's going to last long, and is it going to be worth your money? Should you get a phone that's got the best high-performance chip, but then you've got doubts about the software? Or would you want a phone that's optimized for software, but not great cameras? Or a phone that's very slim and trendy, but you're not sure about the battery and the longevity? Or would you want a phone that's good at everything? That's the dilemma. And after about a month of using the Nord 5, I've realized this even more. Look, like other phones, this too has cutbacks and we'll talk about that. But let me share my personal experience with this phone and you decide in the comments whether it checks most boxes or not. Deal? Let's go. See, first of all, I really like the fact that the Nord 5, it comes with a minimum of 256 gigs, which I think gives it a price advantage over its competitors, and that you get everything in the box, including a screen protector on the display. And so you don't have to shell out anything extra. Secondly, I have to admit that among some other phones that have a loud or a flashy design, the Nord 5 has a more subtle and classy design. Plus, it has this soft matte glass back, which, by the way, is absolutely fingerprint-free. You can't smudge this phone. Third, the Nord 5 is a big phone. So it did take me some time to get used to the size. I'm relatively short, with smaller hands. But if you're taller, good for you. You won't face that issue. And hey, for some people, that's a good thing because it means more display and more battery. And so this size gets you a 6.83-inch screen. That's massive. Overall, better for watching content and of course, gaming, both for long hours. And we'll get to the details shortly, so hang tight. I really like that there's a built-in remote in it. It works on everything around me and I don't ever need to look for my remote. And not many people use it, but I really think they should. Durability-wise, the good thing is that they've upgraded the display protection from Panda Glass on Nord 4 to Gorilla Glass 7i on the Nord 5. And it's held up pretty well even without the screen protector. The not so good thing is that this is IP65 rated. It's good enough for splashes of water, but you cannot really dip it in water. And not that you'd be doing that, but I think it would have been assuring that, if it was at least IP68 rated. Oh, and by the way, it works without any issues, even with, like wet hands or a wet screen. Either way. Now, there are two things that I see is concerning people. One, that this now has a polycarbonate plastic frame, and second, that it's got a USB 2 Type-C port. My thoughts on this. First, I'm going to admit the fact that going from a unibody metallic design on the Nord 4 to a polycarbonate frame in the Nord 5 is a step down. But as I've been using this phone, the Nord 5, I've realized that because of a much bigger battery, the Nord 5 is already slightly heavier than the Nord 4. And therefore, to keep the weight as low as possible while also giving you a bigger battery may have led OnePlus to, opt for a lighter plastic frame. So it could be a trade-off. But I'll tell you this, when you hold the phone, it still gives off that metallic vibe and it doesn't feel cheap. Also, if you are going to put on a case, it matters even less. And second, the USB 2. Now, honestly, it doesn't bother me so much personally. I don't use it for, data transfers every now and then. It charges fast and that's what really matters. But I know a lot of people have complaints. So I would love to hear from you. Why do you need a USB 2 on this? Just my research purposes. But I missed the alert slider. I mean, it just felt so satisfying and it really, connected me to the phone. Although, to be fair, the button does add more functionality. You can configure this to do so many other things that you frequently do, and it just makes it a lot more useful functionally. So I've warmed up to it over time. Now, guys, I've already talked about the display in my initial review and it continues to be awesome. 6.83-inch of AMOLED, Ultra HDR display with support for Netflix HDR playback, 93.6% screen-to-body ratio. I mean, it all looks really good. But yeah, it's not the brightest display in this segment. I mean, if you're really looking for very bright displays, and that's the one thing that really matters to you, there are other options. But generally speaking, this is an ample bright display outdoors, and I can vouch for it that I've never had any issues seeing it. And guys, personally, I prefer compact phones, but there's just something about watching stuff or, gaming on a big display that's quite hard to match in a small phone. Now, one thing, guys, although the peak refresh rate of this screen is 144 Hz, but in everyday use, it stays at 120 Hz. There are a few apps and games that support that 144 Hz refresh rate, and we'll talk about that when I talk about performance. Actually, let's talk about performance. So it's got a Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 chip with a fast LPDDR5X RAM and a UFS 3.1 internal storage. Now, some of you have voiced that this does not have a UFS 4 but has a UFS 3.1. I will also tell you that you'll rarely notice any performance slowdown in like everyday use. You can open as many apps as you want, switching is very quick, things load up very fast. Any and everything you do, 95% of the times, they are as fast as on any high-end flagship. I mean, come on guys, we already know that OxygenOS ranks really high and it just feels more fluid than many others out there. And there are other phones that are slightly more expensive and they give the same gaming performance as this. Even while gaming, you can go here and turn on adaptive frame rate, which gets you 144 FPS on popular games like BGMI or Call of Duty. And oh man, it is smooth. So even with the 8S Gen 3 and its massive cooling surface area, you get consistent performance. And as I said in my last video, this one has bypass charging. So you can connect it to, charging and draw power directly without using up the battery. So no heating, no stress on battery, everyone wins. But on a very serious note, guys, if your usage is very generic, like it's just chat, emails, WhatsApp, Instagram, YouTube, don't try to jump on a phone that's got the best chip but an inferior optimization. It's pointless, really. What you want is good optimization, really reliable performance, and I think that's what I was trying to say in the opening of this video as well. But if all you do is, heavy gaming or a lot of video exports, sure, you can opt for a phone that's got a better chip. Now, as long as we're talking about performance, let's also talk about the battery performance and charging. So, I'm getting close to 8.5 hours of screen on time on a busy day and almost about 10 hours on really light days. And a big reason for that is that on standby, this phone barely drains any battery. And so what I'm trying to say is that I charge this phone once every 1.5 days. Now guys, it comes with this 80-watt charger, which again is a step down from the 100-watt charger last year. In fact, the charging time has doubled from 28 minutes on the Nord 4 to 54 minutes on the Nord 5. But then again, the battery capacity has also gone up. I mean, 80 watts is still good. I'm barely in a spot where I'm like, no, I want 100% right now. And I'm sure that is also the case with you. Now guys, we all love OxygenOS, right? And I've talked about how fluid it is and how responsive everything feels. Fingerprint unlock is quick. Face unlock is even quicker. I mean, I just love how it unlocks instantly. I don't even see the lock screen. It's that fast. Also, this one supports tap and pay. So if you could configure your Google Pay app with that tap and pay, it works. Now, OnePlus guarantees that they'll give you 4 years of Android upgrades on this thing and 6 years of security updates. So that works. Now guys, I do think that I should briefly cover the new AI features. So let's go. And amongst all, I think AI Plus Mind is the most useful. Basically, if there's anything you want to remember, you just swipe up with 3 fingers or just long press the AI key and the phone remembers it for you. So everything is analyzed and intelligently sorted for you. So not only can you refer to it later, but also recall it very easily with a simple search. Now, while the dialer can record normal audio calls, there's also a new AI voice scribe, and with that you can even record calls that you take on WhatsApp or Telegram. What's great is that all these calls, not only can you record them, but also have full transcripts of these audio calls and even have a summary of them. And hey, it supports quite a bunch of languages too, not just English. Lastly, I want to talk about the cameras, and I think there's a significant upgrade compared to the Nord 4. So this time you've got a Sony Lytia 750 megapixel main sensor along with an 8 megapixel ultra wide and a really capable 50 megapixel front facing camera. But point to note, there is no telephoto camera and I think that should have been there. But let's look at the samples. So guys, here are some samples taken using the Nord 5. Look, in terms of regular photos, I'd say it's at par with most other phones in this price segment. Good color reproduction, well exposed, clear and sharp, even indoors where lighting can be tricky. And so you'll see the white balance is quite on point. And although there's no telephoto, there's a 2x crop, which if you see is actually acceptable. Like if I zoom into this dhaba word here, just see how nicely readable and sharp the text is. I'll leave these photo samples for you to download, so you can check out the quality for yourself. Oh, and then I also checked out the portrait mode, and guys, very nice edge detection, good accurate colors. I like them. The 8 megapixel ultra wide is okay. I wouldn't say it can't be better, but I think it takes satisfactory shots and no major complaints. But you know, the selfies were really good. I mean, it's got a very solid 50 megapixel front-facing camera, and it can take selfies maintaining accurate skin tones, and in portrait mode also, it has a very good edge detection. And check this out, even in low light, just look at that sharpness. Most of the phones will take very soft selfies, but not this one in this price segment. Speaking of low light, I think it's one of the best phones under 30,000 that does pretty well. Sky, noise-free, white balance on point, no halation around the sources of light. Honestly, most things that can go wrong are handled quite well by the Nord 5. And guys, check this picture out. I mean, this was at about 9 PM, just so good. But guys, overall, I think this is easily one of the best Nord that OnePlus has ever made for taking photos. I mean, it's got a really balanced set of cameras. Now, if you want to take better photos, like if you really want just better cameras, sure, there are other options out there. But if you want really good cameras, along with everything that's also good on this phone, I don't think there's any other option. And that's all, guys. I mean, OnePlus Nord has always been about great, reliable, optimized performance at a really good price, and it's still that. Now, guys, there are other phones in this price segment that excel too much in one area and not so much in others. And if that one area really matters to you a lot, sure, you've got options. But do note, even those phones will have some cutbacks. And so at the end of the day, it's really about, you know, what's important to you, what matters to you more, what set of features together make more sense for you. But under 30,000, this is a very safe all-rounder recommendation that you really can't go wrong with, especially if, you know, you've got a very general everyday usage. But that's it, guys, about the Nord 5. If you guys still have any questions, thoughts, comments, please feel free to ask me in the comment section. And as always, if you did enjoy watching the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, guys, hit that bell notification icon and mark all. Really helps the channel grow. I'll see you guys in the next one.